Some basics of communication. As someone said, when you communicate, you pass a message. When you communicate, you influence. When you communicate, you leave an impact. So, the first basic of communication is the sender. They need to be somebody who is effective communicator to the audience, and they need to understand the audience very clearly. The speaker needs to be bold, confident, and they should be people who convey confidence across. So the sender of the message is a very key component of the basics of communication. The second basic of communication is the receiver, the person who is receiving. There's a clarion call in my country, Kenya, among some political environments, speaking about listening to the ground. But the receiver is the listener, the person who is receiving the message. In other contexts, they are called the audience. They they are capable of questioning the speaker if they are doubtful, especially if it is verbal, one to one. Even if it's a call, they can always ask, did I hear you say this, that? Did I hear you correct? Is this what you mean? Even if it is written, they can equally shoot. It might take a while, but they can quickly shoot an email, an SMS, a short message, or even a WhatsApp message, or depending on the channel they are using, and ask the question, did I hear you correct? So the receiver is a critical part of the basics of communication. The other important basics of communication is the message itself. What the speaker and the receiver are communicating is known as the message. That is between the speaker and the receiver, that message. This is the element that holds all the information that the speaker wants to convey across. And how did the receiver receive it? The message depends on the audience and the speaker. We were joking on Thursday. We had gone for the last respects for a friend's mother, and as you were moving from one road, a feeder road, into the main road, and it was slightly of a blind corner, the person who was seated on the passenger side, I asked him, "Is your side clear?" But I asked him in our local language. How it is interpreted sometimes by people is when you ask them, is your side clear? They normally interpret as if you're asking, is everything okay at home? And somebody has been known to cause an accident to the driver when they were asked, kwako kuko namna gani? So when they heard kwako, kwako means yours. So when they heard yours, how is yours? They thought they are being asked how home was. So they said home was okay. And therefore the driver just came off the road from the feeder road into the main road. And there was a very fast moving truck, and there was a collision, and it was a lethal collision. The point is, sometimes you may think you are communicating. The message is very important, and it holds the power in the communication. The other basic of communication is channel. Channel refers to the media in which you are communicating. Are you using, is it an online media, especially nowadays? We got a lot of online media, WhatsApp, um, email. Are you doing Facebook? Are you doing Discord? Are you Instagramming? Is it radio? Is it television? Or is it face to face? Umundu kumundu. Umundu kumundu means face to face, man to man, woman to woman. Is it written? Is it broadcast? Is it mobile? Is it electronic? The receiver will understand the message even more clearly if it is face to face, if you can. I know a company I was reading about on Friday, they call it an no email Friday, especially within the institution's offices, within the campus, not outside. So that if I have to send an email to my CEO, I walk to his office and tell them how, because they realized because of the level of technology and online communication, people are losing the face to face, which builds relationship. If you remember your time management quadrant, there are things that are important but not urgent, and the relationship building is one of them. So the channel also depends on how effective the the speaker is. The other basics of communication is encoding. It happens in the mind of the speaker. How are they able to, whatever they are thinking, how are they able to package it when the message is being sent to the audience? If the speaker does not encode his message information properly, then the audience will not know what they are learning or what they meant, and there'll be some confusion among the audience. So you should have clarity of mind, encoding what that thing you are thinking about. How do you convert it onto paper, type it and send it? How do you convert it into words and make sure that I have gotten the information? You can lose the meaning of the message there. You think you have communicated, but the person who you are talking to did not understand. The other basic of communication is decoding. The process happens so that now how the process of understanding the message. Now the receiver is the one who does the decoding. Once the message lands on the end, I was giving you the example of the person, the one who was asked, is your how is your place or your side? And they thought it was their home. They were being asked about the road, the side, because the driver was having a blind spot. They couldn't see that side of the road. So that decoding, the interpretation of the message by the receiver also matters. If it does not happen, then the audience will not know what the speaker is trying to convey, which might create problems. You think you have communicated, and yet you have not. You have not. I was training in Tanzania recently. I had a team from one of the power transmission companies in Kenya. They had gone to train in a neighboring country, and we were talking about actually communication. And then I gave a case, or rather, I gave some assignment for them to go and do a SWOT analysis. I think it was something on personal development. We as a component, we were looking at on personal development. And I challenged them to go and do a SWOT analysis overnight. Now, some thought it was a SWOT analysis for the organization. Some thought it was a SWOT analysis for the job they do. But a couple of them understood it was a SWOT analysis of their life, personal life. So when it came to the issue of presentation the following day, as we were doing the debrief, I could see how the decoding had happened differently. So be key and keen on decoding. The other basic of communication is noise. Noise causes the barrier. to communication. Noise happens if a person is communicating with someone and there is some external disturbance, what we call noise. It may come from different forms. It may come from human beings who are talking in a different room, or human beings who are keeping walking up and down as you are talking. They get into the line of vision. It could be happening to maybe somebody who is watching something online as they are listening to you. They are on phone scrolling and yet they are listening to you. So in the course of scrolling, they are not keenly following what you are saying. It could come from even external noises, maybe vehicles moving up and down, an airplane. I have seen whenever you are giving a speech, or if, for example, I'm training and we are in the line of airlines, where airlines, maybe near an airport. I've trained near an airport. If there's no enough proofing in the room, you find whenever an aircraft passes of overhead, and that, in fact, I remember I had a training in one of the towns called Naivasha. Naivasha is about 100 kilometers from Nairobi, our capital city in Kenya. And it is near a freshwater lake called Lake Naivasha. So it is normally liked most by most organizations because it has a relaxing, near the lake kind of a feel. So this particular day, I was in a hotel that was neighboring another five-star hotel where government functionaries were having a retreat to review how they had been performing the whole year. So it was a whole week, and the president, the deputy president of the country, and senior ministers kept coming and going. And I remember on one day or 2 days, the helicopters landing. It was a whole chaotic. They are landing, taking off, landing. That disturbs. That was happened to be on the last day. It was the Thursday and Friday. So that alone was enough noise. It interfered with our learning. So noise is a basic of communication. The other basic of communication is what you call the effect. Yes, the message has been decoded, but what effect or impact has it left on the audience? The effect in communication with the listener it's how the listener reacts to that information given by the speaker. What have they done with the information? The better the speaker, the better the impact or effect. So that's why you find those people who are great orators, like, for example, I have seen some presidents in the US, Obama, and even Trump. You may not take it away. He has a rhetoric. The way he does his communication in small spats, spats of communication, short sentences. Effect is the impact the information is having. Have they taken action? Have they voted for you? Have they voted for the idea? Have they bought? In the same AGM we had last week, our chairman of the parents was supposed to communicate some information about some motivation money for students. But I think because of the packaging, it was rejected by the parents. So the effect was negative. Is it because maybe the packaging was not done properly? So the better the speaker, the better the impact or the effect it has. Finally, the other basic of communication is feedback. Feedback is what a sender receives from the audience. It can be either positive or negative. I've told you when we had the AGM, we had a negative feedback on some motivation money for the students. The audience lets you know if what you are saying was impactful and thoughtful enough through this process. This helps the speaker to better or advance their talents or skills next time. So from the feedback, then next time I'm going to make it better, or these are the areas I need to work around. So next time when you are speaking, remember those basics of communication and utilize them to be an effective communicator. God bless.